สวัสดีค่ะยินดีต้อนรับกลับสู่ Mindful Business Podcast โดย Create นะคะวันนี้แพรเป็นเกียรติอย่างยิ่งนะคะที่มีสมาชิกคนใหม่ของสมาคม Create น้องอัลฟามาร่วมด้วยนะคะและวันนี้นะคะเราทำเป็นเวบินาร์เป็นไฮบริดนะคะทั้งออนไลน์แล้วก็ออนไซต์ซึ่งเราได้มีแขกรับเชิญจากออสเตรเลียนะคะคุณ Indra Mckie มาเป็น AI Expert ให้เราวันนี้นะคะแล้วก็อย่างแรกเลยค่ะขอแนะนำเพื่อนค่ะคุณสเตลล่าจากซิดนีย์ที่แนะนำให้เรารู้จักกับ Indra ด้วยค่ะ Hi
สวัสดีค่ะ
Stella Stella introduce yourself a little bit
อันนี้สเตลล่านะคะเป็นคนไทยเกิดบุรีรัมย์แต่ไปโตที่ออสเตรเลียค่ะแล้วสเตลล่าก็เอาข้าวมาแปรรูปเป็นของใช้ค่ะ
ค่ะขอบคุณมากเลยค่ะ Stella ที่แนะนำให้รู้จักกับ Indra นะคะ and now we're going to switch to English welcome aboard Indra Mckie PhD Dr. Indra Mckie welcome to Mindful Business Podcast. We're so honored to have you with us today, and it's such a timely podcast interview with all that's going on with AI and the War Department and Iran and the Straits of Hormuz. So we have a lot to cover today. Could you just briefly introduce yourself?
Hi everyone. Hi every Thai listener. So nice to talk to you. I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia, and my background is Indonesian Australian. I finished my PhD just last year, and it was all about AI and voice assistants, Amazon Alexa, Google Home, and how we are living with this first iteration of robotics and AI in our homes and how that affects family life. So I'm very interested in how families and everyday people are affected by AI. And right now, I'm doing more work at the University of Technology, Sydney, looking at how seniors can use technology to live longer at home. With an aging population, there's less and less younger people to look after them. So we're seeing, like AI, how can do people trust it? Do they want to use it? And I think that's a big question for everyone. I have a book coming out soon, but on my work, you can follow me on Instagram, Indra_inspired.
Okay, let's get straight to the first question. So the first part is going to be on the environmental cost of AI. And the second part, Alpha, will discuss the social, impact of AI. So starting with just the environmental sustainability of AI, it uses a lot of water and energy resources. So do you have any insights on that our audience, especially in Thailand, can learn from you?
I do. I actually run my own company called Vibecrafted, and we give workshops all about AI. And I recently gave one about generative AI and the climate. I think a lot of people are scared how much it uses in terms of CO2 emissions, but also water is a big deal. I'm not sure if you know, but computers and the internet aren't just invisible forces, but start from data centers, which are huge buildings. Usually they don't have windows because computers don't need windows. Think of it as a big house for all the computers that power the internet or everything that we do online. And because of AI and its processing and the life cycle of AI, it takes a lot of extra data centers being built, and they use a lot of water to cool the computers. When you've been using it a lot, but it gets really hot, or your laptop or your computer. So that's why they use a lot of water to go through their systems and cool down the machines. So what the problem is with this is that CO2 gases, climate change and how it affects the ozone layer, it kind of goes out into the world on a global scale, and like no country in particular is affected, but the whole earth is. But with water, when you take water from one local place to cool a data center nearby, that water evaporates into the air, and it's not necessarily returned to that local ecosystem. So that's how it's different, because you don't know where that water is going to go up into the atmosphere. Where is it going to rain on? So that's the problem with water usage for AI, but it's not too bad currently. I have some stats here. So if you generate one image through ChatGPT or Nano Banana Pro with Google, that's about the equivalent of 1 teaspoon of water being used.
Okay, thank God. So I thought it was more.
Yeah, when you see it on this scale, it doesn't feel too crazy. You ask it one question, it gives you one answer back. That's about 0.01 milliliters of water. So that's like one raindrop of water.
Okay.
So yeah, not too bad when you think of it at that scale. But what
Mhm.
the issue is that it's reaching, when we compare it to other polluters, other industry polluters, such as the aviation industry is a big
Yes.
example, uses a lot of petrol and CO2
Sure.
emissions. It's got to that level, which is kind of like millions times what AI is doing right now, over 30 years. Over
Yes.
30 years. So the issue is AI is projected to get to that same number over the
Oh
next
my
2 years.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So currently it's okay.
Yeah.
But with their projections, with them wanting to keep growing and scaling, and every time they come up with a new model, which is like a new improved version of
Yeah.
an AI, that means training, and that takes a lot, the most energy usage.
Yeah.
So when they train a new model, it's the equivalent of 400 Olympic swimming pools of water. Claude has Sonnet, has those funny names that they have, like ChatGPT has Opus, I think, 3.5, 4, 5. So these is what we refer to as AI models, and they take a lot of energy to train.
Yeah.
And I think they're coming up with like 2, 3 every 6 months. So
That's
they're
true.
yeah. I haven't looked too much into it, but alternative AIs, for example, I think DeepSeek from China is
Yeah.
boasting
DeepSeek.
having more economically and climate friendly AI training
Okay.
just by being more
Interesting.
efficient.
Okay.
So it's definitely, engineers have a lot to do to be how
Yes.
can they create AI to be more conservative in energy use by creating better
Yes.
technology.
Yeah.
But also the whole world is not using AI yet. Thank God. I think I've seen a statistic. It's about like about 8 to 10% of the whole population chats to
Yeah.
a generative AI, and then only about 2% of the population is building, and I think super users, which would be
Yeah.
using those swimming pools worth of water for their own projects.
Yeah. Indra, you're already inspiring me because you've been talking about Gen AI, and I'm thinking like we need regen AI.
Regen AI.
Like how can we make it, climate responsible and innovative data centers and AI powering.
Yeah. And I think this might be an answer to a future. In my workshops and to my clients and consultants, I really say that AI needs to be used by individuals and smaller businesses, groups that want to create impactful for good over the history of the world. Like the government and big companies are going to use whatever technology to their benefit to make more capital. But in the hands of small grassroots communities, scientists, learners, outside of that corporate structure.
Love that. Yeah, let's go beyond corporate and military.
Yes. And I think in corporate, they're seeing job cuts and job losses for just to like increase their bottom
cost
line.
savings. Yeah. That's such a good segue to Alpha's part for the first question. The social aspect. Go ahead, Alpha.
Yes. So for the part of social aspect that I can see with AI, stemmed from the recent war of US and Iran that kind of have the conflict of big AI company like Anthropic that got banned by the US government too, because Anthropic, which is the owner of the AI Claude, refused to let the US military to use their AI into the war operation by letting the AI to automatic killing people without human in the loop and using their AI into massive violence of their people. despite we see the Anthropic being like the hero in this situation, Anthropic was actually the first AI company that has contract with US military to use AI in military services. And so the CEO of Anthropic, Dario, used to work with OpenAI, which is the owner of ChatGPT before. But the standpoint of OpenAI at that time was to launch product as fast as possible to competing with the market and not really actually thinking about how it will affect the world. So Dario, who was at OpenAI at that time, he was thinking that is not the way that he wants AI to be. He wants AI to be safer for everyone to use. So he left OpenAI and found the company Anthropic with his sister and made Claude AI. So compared to OpenAI, we can say that Anthropic is more kind of like thoughtful about how the AI will be used. So I think it's normal from Anthropic when the US military kind of like offer the deals to them, but they reject that last two requests to use AI in killing people and also mass surveillance, because I think it's really something that we should think about. Is it the line that AI should be crossing or not? And by rejecting the US military to not crossing those lines, Anthropic got banned from the US military, which I think is actually something so serious. Not just in the time of war, but should we actually use AI to kill people without people command? I can see many things that can go wrong with that.
So what are your thoughts on that, Indra?
Such a big issue, and I was following it very intensely, of course. I think it's so provocative. And you're right, the creators of Anthropic left OpenAI because they did see that it was working against their values, and created their own company. But I think Anthropic and Claude said that their technology is not good enough to reliably do that. So it makes me question, if it was good enough, would they
do
be
it?
okay? Yeah. And I do have some friends that work in defense, and before I met them, I was always like, anyone who works in military or defense is evil, or but I think some level of defense and military is important. Of course, AI is going to be involved in that, and as American citizens would want to use an American company for their AI. And we see this kind of relationships between politicians and these technology conglomerates. They had like a White House dinner just after Trump's re-election, where all the CEOs of Google, Meta, Apple were all there, because they really do have a stake in how US economy and culture will prevail in the future. And like I mentioned, data centers, they need countries and to be cooperative with them in building and creating this global AI infrastructure. That's why even in these war efforts, we hear Iran threatening to blow up the technology company headquarters in the Middle East, in Dubai.
Amazing.
Yes, because they know that's really important to them, the different countries globally. So I think it was really bad press for ChatGPT the next day accepted the government contract. I was like, whoa. And that actually started a huge movement where a lot of people boycotted ChatGPT. And I myself personally deleted my account from ChatGPT and deleted the app. And now everyone who I teach and work with, I say, I'm boycotting them because of this. But I find as well that a lot of people aren't up to date on this story.